Hi, my name is Daniel at VFXnow. Today we are going to be upgrading to the RTX 4090, our most demanded and best performing GeForce card that we have. The first thing that you want to do before is check compatibility. NVIDIA says that you need a minimum of 850 watts. I would recommend at least 1000 watts. And then the second thing you want to check is make sure that you have enough cables. If you have the native 16-pin cable, you don't really have to worry about anything to your power supply. But if you don't, you want to make sure that you have a separate cable for each individual PCI port. That way, you're not putting too much pressure on the power supply rail. You just want it to be evenly distributed. So, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take out this old 2080 Ti. It was great in its day, but now it's 2 generations behind. So we're just going to take this out, get rid of this. We don't need it anymore. And I'm going to replace it with the RTX 4090. The first thing that I try to do is make sure you ground yourself. Easy way to ground yourself is just put your hands on the case. If you do have an anti-static strap, go ahead and use that. And if you are just swapping from a previously used GPU, you're going to want to clean it and make sure that it doesn't have any dust. This will extend its life. This will make sure it performs better because, as we all know, heat is the enemy. If you are using a air compressor or canned air, you want to make sure that you hold on to the fan so they don't spin, because it will damage the motor inside of the fan if it's spinning while you're cleaning it. So let's go ahead and install this. There are some extra screws here, so I'm going to actually grab a screwdriver real quick. Because of the size of this card is so massive, so this one actually takes up 3 slots, so it's a triple slot card. So pretty much just going to remove these screws. I tend to like to remove all of them prior just to give myself some space, and then reinstall these, what I call the input-output plates, after the GPU is installed. So now we're just going to make sure it's seated inside of the PCIe slot. A lot of times, depending on how your cable management is, you might want to actually plug it in first. Since we have the native 16-pin connector, we're just going to plug it right directly in. Depending on your setup, you can also, of course, do this after. And then I like to put my hand on both ends and then go ahead and make sure it's seated. And you want to make sure that it's completely flush with the plate where you screw in the screws. And you're pretty much all set. And you're ready to turn it on. Just as long as it's plugged in, it's screwed in. The 4090 is a super heavy card, so you might want to invest into a GPU brace just to give it some extra support. Alright, I'm Daniel with VFXnow, and next up we're going to be checking out how to install the drivers.